2023, the acting director of procurement recommended termination of the process. The CEO approved, and on 5th May 2023, the termination was communicated.
What was terminated?
The process.
The process of bidding, correct?
Yes.
Why was it terminated?
Now,
paragraph 100, Mr. Witness,
no,
paragraph
Counsel,
100.
Counsel, look.
You know, I am cross-examining you.
I will only deal with my evidence. I will not deal with the evidence of other institutions. The Senate is an independent institution. The ESCC
that we know
conducted its own investigation. Please ask me questions related to the investigation.
Now, after making your statement, please read the reason why the termination was actuated at paragraph 100.
If you want me just to read for the sake of it, but I'm not owning this evidence. I'm only owning the evidence by ESCC.
I didn't ask you to own it.
Yeah.
Witness, the counsel is asking you to read a certain paragraph.
Okay.
Just read it.
Guided.
Yes?
Which paragraph?
I have asked you to read paragraph 106, correct?
Yes.
About the terminations, correct?
Yes.
And I've asked you to state for the assembly the reasons why the terminations is being recommended, correct?
Yes.
And I've told you that that answer, you'll find it at page 221, paragraph 100, correct?
Correct.
And that the bidding was terminated because the bids failed to meet the minimal requirements, correct?
Correct.
And therefore, the cancellation was not as a result of your alleged favorism, correct?
That is not my evidence. My evidence is
yes, I know.
There was clear favorism.
Clear favorism.
Yeah.
Look at paragraph 226. Sorry, page 226.
226. I'm there.
Yes. Look at paragraph 136.
I'm there.
Yeah. Read paragraph 136.
In late April 2023, he learned from the Global Fund.
Who is this learning from Global Funds?
Oh, you just took me there straight.
Yeah, look at paragraph 225 so that we can get to know who is learning.
235 or 225?
Yeah, 225.
225.
That is the evidence by one Dr. Andrew Mulwa, acting CEO KEMSA, correct?
Now, 225, 125, if you...
225. Up here.
Which paragraph?
Up here.
Yeah, submissions by Dr. Andrew Mulwa, acting
yes.
CEO.
So what is he saying now at paragraph 136?
136, in April 2023, he learned from Global Fund pre-award review report that the long-lasting insecticide nets tender was to be cancelled on account of inconsistencies in the bid evaluation.
Yes?
Yes.
So why was it cancelled?
The issue would be who caused the bid.
No, it's not who caused. We are looking at the report. What does it indicate at that paragraph, the issues of the cancellation?
Paragraph 136?
Yes.
On account of inconsistencies.
It speaks to the fact that the bid or the tender was cancelled, correct?
It does, yes.
And it speaks to the reason that it was cancelled on the basis or on the reason of inconsistency, correct?
Correct.
And therefore your testimony that was a result of favorism does not sit well with the evidence contained at paragraph 136 of the bundle, correct?
This, my evidence...
No, I just want you to limit yourself to that paragraph vis-a-vis what you stated. That the reason for the cancellation was the inconsistency, Mr. Witness, yes?
Inconsistencies, yes, but...
Thank you, let's go on.
How is the inconsistency?
Let us go to that one. You shall explain in another forum, not here.
Yeah. Continue.
Let's go to paragraph 230, page 230.
Page 230?
Yes.
Which paragraph?
230.
Which paragraph?
Paragraph G.
G, yes.
Yes?
Yeah.
Can you read it out?
At the evaluation stage, the audit team established that only 2 bidders passed the preliminary evaluation and proceeded to the technical evaluation, that is bidder number 3, Tianjin and Coal International.
Which two companies passed?
As per this one, Tianjin Coal
yes.
International.
Yes.
Bidder number 7.
Yes.
Premier Movers Limited, contrary to evaluation committee.
Is Shobika part of those bidders?
No, it's not.
It's not.
Yeah.
Look at page 231 again, paragraph J.
231.
Page 231, paragraph J.
Paragraph J, yes.
Yes, read J.
The termination of the tender complied with section 62 of the Act and Global Fund guidelines.
So the termination was lawful, correct? And it complied with the Procurement Act, correct or not correct, Mr. Witness?
Correct.
Correct. Let us look at page 246.
246.
Yes, page 246, paragraph 213.
246.
Paragraph 213.
213, yes.
Yes, what is the report indicating?
Following the cancellation of the tender at KEMSA, TNT placed an order of 10.2 million nets on wombo.org website, and procurement was subsequently done in line with the technical specifications provided by the Ministry of Health.
So the nets were eventually procured, correct or not correct?
They were eventually procured.
And it took the interventions of global funds to procure them, correct?
Correct.
And that you look at paragraph 215, yes?
Yes, I'm there.
Read it out.
Further, prior to the cancellation of the tender, differences arose between Global Fund team and the immediate former PS, State Department of Public Health and Professional Standards with regard to the operations and ongoing at the DNPM Ministry of Health. It was noted that these differences
It was noted that these differences may have played a role in the final decision by global funds to terminate the tender processes, correct?
correct.
Did that have anything to do with the Deputy President? According to the statement you've just read?
It had not.
It has nothing to do with the Deputy President. Let us now finally answer your issues at page 271. 71.
Page.
Yes, and read loudly paragraph 24 and 25.
271. Paragraph.
24 and 25.
The committee, that is 24, the committee observed that following the termination of the tender, while there was no apparent loss of public funds,
Just read it loudly.
the committee observed that following the termination of the tender, while there was no apparent loss of public funds,
There was no apparent loss of.
KEMSA lost USD 455,589.4, approximately 70 million in procurement fees.
The report from the Senate indicates there was no loss of public funds, correct?
Let me read this paragraph again so that we are
Yes,
together.
proceed.
The committee observed that following the termination of the tender, while there was no apparent loss of public funds,
Just put a full
lost-
stop there, pause. What has the committee observed?
You don't want me to finish the
Yes,
sentence?
I'll lead you to that other part.
Okay.
What has the committee observed?
No public funds lost.
No public funds lost. In your investigations, separate investigations that you conducted, did you arrive at the same conclusion? Did you or did you not?
There was no public funds lost.
There was
because
no
the
public
tender was
funds lost.
terminated.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So let us look at paragraph 25.
25 years.
Yes, read it out.
The committee observed that the cancellation of the tender appeared to have been influenced by Global Fund's apparent effort to exert significant control over the procurement process from the beginning to the end.
Thank you. What occasioned the cancellation?
The cancellation of the tender appeared to have been influenced by the Global Fund's apparent effort to exert significant control over the procurement process.
Is there any evidence indicating that the Deputy President was involved in that process?
No,
Was his companies involved?
no,
Was his family involved?
no.
Any evidence that you have before this assembly to that respect?
The evidence I have
No. Any evidence that any of them were involved?
on this report, or my evidence?
This report.
On this report, no, but my evidence is.
Let us go to the next paragraph, yeah? This concluded that Global Funds teams based in Geneva, Switzerland, making multiple trips to Nairobi, Kenya, at least 3 times during the relevant period,
page?
raising concerns about the autonomy and the ability of the local government. Just read it out.
That is paragraph 25.
Yes, the same paragraph.
Okay. The committee observed that cancellation of the tender appeared to have been influenced by Global Fund's apparent effort to exert significant control over the procurement process from the beginning to the end. This included Global Fund team based in Geneva, Switzerland, making multiple trips to Nairobi, Kenya, at least 3 times during the relevant period, raising concerns about the autonomy and the ability of the local government agencies.
The autonomy of the organization, correct?
of
Let
the
us
local-
look at paragraph 222 again. Sorry, page 222. Page 222, Mr. Witness.
222.
And while you get there, you look at paragraph 105, 107. Page 222.
Paragraph
107. Would you kindly read it out?
107. It is further her testimony that, I don't know whose testimony this is.
Yeah. That is a testimony of the submissions of Terry Ramathani, immediate CEO.
Okay.
Yes, you find that at page 219. Yeah, but now I'm interested in paragraph 105, 107.
It was further her testimony that the authority had struggled to maintain its autonomy
The authority has struggled to maintain its autonomy, yes,
owing to the undue influence
owing to undue interference
interference by the cabinet secretary
from the
for-
Cabinet Secretary for Health, yes, post, who was the Cabinet Secretary for Health at the time in issue?
Oh, we can check that one.
Yeah, who was?
I
This
don't-
regime has only had two
Just let
two
me-
Cabinet Secretaries.
Let me just confirm from my records here. Because she did a letter to us, so
Council Jiro.
the name is Namu.
Just hold on, witness.
This is
Hold
Wafula.
on, Mr. Abdi.
Yeah, sir.
Council Jiro.
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
I thought when you're cross-examining a witness, you cross-examine on the evidence they've given. You
No.
totally abandoned his evidence.
Those are not the rule of cross-examination, Mr. Speaker, sir. I respectfully beg
Because,
to
you know,
differ.
the reason why the witness has difficulties.
He doesn't have difficulty in the
No,
speaker.
he has. He has.
No,
I've seen
I
him.
am asking him to read. Okay, I will be guided.
Proceed, if that's your line of argument, proceed.
Thank you for giving the latitude. Who was the Cabinet Secretary at the time the bid was being cancelled?
She's Nakumicha.
Nakumicha.
S. Wafula.
Has the Senate found that what occasioned all these cancellations of these tenders was the loss of the autonomy of KEMSA?
I would want to confine myself to my evidence.
I know, at this
I
time you
wouldn't
wish
want to talk about the evidence.
Okay, then read that paragraph. Just read for me.
Which paragraph?
Paragraph 107. And I want to finish up with you.
Okay. Paragraph 107, it was further her testimony that the authority had struggled to maintain its autonomy owing to the undue interference from the Cabinet Secretary for Health. For instance, she stated that on 22nd March 2023, she received a note from the CS asking her to assist a certain Mr. Ken Ogola.
She received a note from the CS asking the CEO to assist one Ken Ogola, correct?
As per this statement, yes.
Have you seen any company associated with the Deputy President being accused of these interferences?
No?
Let's go to your bundle as I finish up, volume 8A. Any evidence from volume 8A that you've brought that links
That?
the Deputy President's company to the cancellation of the tender?
Yes.
Look at your paragraph, look at your letter dated 23rd September. Your letter dated 23rd September, and look at the recommendations.
Yes.
What are you recommending?
We are recommending for admin action against the KEMSA officials and the Ministry of Health officials. There is a pending issue.
It's okay. I want you to limit yourself to what I am asking in that respect.
Yes.
You are recommending administrative action to KEMSA officials.
Yes.
Correct?
Correct. But the file is
In
still
that
open.
particular paragraph, any recommendation for the prosecution of the company in issue? In that particular paragraph?
The file is still open.
It's
but
okay.
As per these recommendations,
You
no.
brought the documents here. We are dealing with what you have brought, not what you have in the
Yes.
office.
Yes.
Any recommendation in respect of that company?
No.
Thank you. Let us go to a letter dated 21st August, correct?
Of my bundles?
Of your bundles.
By who?
The EACC bundles, the one that you're just looking at. Don't leave volume 8A. You can see the letter dated 21st August, correct?
Just a minute. I get the letter. 21st August, yes.
Yes. Can you see the recommendation at
Yes.
page 7?
Yes.
What are you recommending?
We are recommending for the investigation established that the Chief Executive Officer at KEMSA, Terry Ramadhani, failed to ensure compliance with the procurement processes and the law, contrary to Section 44 of the PPDA Act.
That Ramathani was in breach of the law, correct?
Correct.
A person who is in breach of the law, what happens to him or her?
There are many ways of dealing with that. We can charge.
The law sanctions that act, correct?
Exactly.
Do you know what sanction was given to Terry?
I wouldn't know, but
Do you know that she is now currently the ambassador to New Delhi?
that was not our expectation. We
I know.
expected administrative action taken against the lady.
So, did any person, either the chief executive officer, report to you that he has received any intimidation, harassment, bullying from
No.
the office of the deputy president?
No.
Yeah?
No.
Did you receive any complaint?
Not to ACC.
Did you receive any complaint?
No.
Thank you. Now, Mr. Witness, finally, where do you place your evidence in these proceedings?
In these proceedings, I place my evidence on the conflict of interest bit.
Conflict of interest.
Which I said, personal interest.
It's okay that you say
of
it,
a
and,
state
and
of-
I understand the law.
Allow me to finish, please.
So show me in the notice of motion, I put it to you, that in the notice of motion, for conflict of interest. Does that surprise you, that there is no such a charge?
It doesn't.
Thank you. No further questions.
Counsel for the National Assembly, you may re-examine the witness.
Now, Mr. Witness, only one more question. Between your statement that you have made and the Senate's report, which one do you want us to rely on?
I want
Which one? There are only two options. The
I can
contempt
only,
that you
I
have
can
for
only
this House.
stand by my evidence, which I can prove in any forum.
Has that report by the Senate indicated any investigations on the ground of favorism, conflict of interest, and gifts?
No, I haven't gone through the report, so I wouldn't want to comment.
Counsel,
Thank you.
Are you done?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, sir, but you're addressing me.
Are you done?
Yes, I am done.
Take your seat.
I'm also obliged.
Mr. Speaker, I believe I had around 4 minutes, 5 minutes.
Go to counsel. Now, I'm afraid, counsel, your time is up. However, you have 2 hours to cross-examine the deputy president. That's where you can borrow from.
Mr. Speaker, I wish to borrow 10 minutes in respect of this witness.
Laura, proceed.
Mr. Mahmoud, do you still have the bundle?
Yes, I'm there.
You're there.
Yes.
Go to paragraph 188 and inform the
Yes,
Senate
I'm there.
what the Senate stated in that report, in that paragraph.
So 188, at the financial evaluation, the evaluation committee, the following bidders, the evaluation committee, I think there's a word missing, the following bidders for award. Item 001, that is mosquito nets treated, rectangular polythene. Number 1 is Shobika Impex Private Limited. Piece.
So bidder number 2, Shobika Impex Private Limited, was recommended for award at a price of USD 9 million.
Correct.
So there was indeed a recommendation by the evaluation committee for an award to Shobika Impex.
Correct.
And it is contained in the report of the Senate.
Correct.
Confirm also that what you've been taken through by my learned friend are the various testimonies of the witnesses who appeared before the Senate. And those testimonies ran from page 202 all the way to page 265. Is that correct?
202, yes, that's correct.
So what counsel has done is to give you the various contestations by the witnesses who came before the Senate. Is that correct?
Correct.
What is important is the recommendations and the observations of the Senate, which is contained in pages 266 to 274.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Correct.
And allow me to just highlight 3 of the observations which were taken out by the Senate. Look at page 267. Page 267, under the rubric
Yes. Which
in
paragraph?
regards to the tender specifications.
Which paragraph?
Page 267, title B.
Title B, in regard to the tender specifications.
The Senate picked out the tender specifications as an issue, which emerged, correct?
Correct.
Go to page 268.
I'm there.
They also picked out the issue of extension of the tender.
Yes.
And in particular, read to the Senate, paragraph 16(1). Paragraph 16(1).
1. The sequence of events leading to the extension appeared solicited and mischievous
As evidenced by
the following.
The Senate is saying that the extension appeared solicited and mischievous, and they then go ahead to give reasons.
Yes.
6 reasons, actually.
Sure. Yes.
Hyphenated. And then they also pick out under D the manner in which KEMSA evaluated the tender. Is that correct?
Correct.
So this report of the Senate rhymes with your observations in all material respects. Is that not so?
Correct.
At paragraph E, the Senate then discusses the process which led to cancellation. It's titled cancellation of the tender. Is that correct?
Correct.
And they say that though there was no loss of funds, KEMSA lost 70 million shillings
Yes.
in procurement fees.
Yeah. Paragraph 24. Yes.
So in all material respects, this report rhymes with the report of the ESCC.
That is correct.
And there is no reason for you to disown it. You've also been told that conflict of interest is not an issue which has been raised by the mover of the motion.
Correct.
To the best of your knowledge, does the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Act, Anti-Corruption and Economic Crimes Act, have a clause on conflict of interest and makes it an offense?
Yeah, it does. The Leadership and Integrity Act also does. Yeah.
I will identify to the Senate during my submissions the relevant section which is contained in the motion. Thank you, Mr. Mahmood. And we wish to close with this witness, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Thank you. We will now move to allow honorable senators to ask questions or seek clarifications. Starting with the senator for Nairobi City County. Senator Eddy.
Mr. Speaker, I've got 2 quick clarification questions, one from the witness and then one from the counsel who cross-examined the witness. Mr. Abdi, you have indicated to this Senate that eventually of all the 17 companies that did bid for this tender, all of them eventually got all their bid bonds and documents back. However, the witness that appeared before us, called Mr. Mulwa, indicated that on the 11th of July 2023, he received a phone call from the deputy president to be able to come and collect the bid bond for Shobika, specifically from EACC. I want to know, when did the other 16 companies get their bid bonds from EACC? Did they get it at the same date that the former witness indicated that he waited for 5 hours from EACC, or did they get them from EACC at a variable date? Then lastly, Mr. Speaker, the counsel for the Deputy President has heavily relied on the Senate report. And if you look at page 218 all the way to page 230, it is submissions to Senate by different individuals. Counsel, do submissions itemized by individuals who appeared before Senate, in your best understanding, amount to Senate's finding and resolutions, in your best understanding? And what do you make of page 275 of Senate recommendations and not findings? Because you did indicate to this House that those were Senate findings. Are they findings, or are they submissions of individuals to the Senate of Kenya? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Mungatana.
Asante sana Bwana Spika. Swali langu kwa mshahidi. Umeelezea bunge la Senate ya kwamba wafanyikazi wa serikali hawakubaliwi kuchukua pesa kama zawadi. Lakini wafanyikazi wa serikali wanakubaliwa kuchukua zawadi aina nyingine. Na tena ukasema katika EACC kuna orodha ambayo mnaorodhesha kila kitu ambacho kinachukuliwa na mfanyikazi yoyote wa serikali. Tunajua kwamba makamu wa rais amekuwa mbele ya Kenya nzima akasema amepata ng'ombe kutoka kwa marafiki zake wa bonde la Ufa kama zawadi. Mimi nataka kukuuliza na uelezee hii bunge yetu ya Senate. Je, uko na orodha ya yote ya hizo ng'ombe za maziwa ambazo zilipatikana, ambazo anasema aliziorodhesha? Hiyo ndio swali yangu kwako. Asante.
Senator Jesang Alan.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I have 2 questions that I would like to ask the Council of His Excellency, the Deputy President, to tell the House why was it the Deputy President calling the CEO of KEMSA asking for a release of the bid bond and not the CEO of Crystal Company, yet he's not an employee or a director of the said company. Number 2, Mr. Speaker, number 2, I equally want to ask the Council of the Deputy President to enlighten me and prove to this House that on how the call by the Deputy President to the CEO of KEMSA pertaining a bid bond that was in process of a contract, not a conflict of interest. And lastly, Mr. Speaker, I'd also like to ask the Council if the Deputy President knows that He's not a regional leader, but a national leader. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Fatuma Dulo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My question is to the DP's counsel. Now, I saw you trying to cross-examine the witness before us on a report of the Senate, which I believe he has not interacted with. And again, the motion that was before the House and also the National Assembly. What are you trying to drive out of that? I thank you.
Senator Joyce Korir.
Yeah, thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. My question is, I wanted to know what informed the extension of time, the change of dates from the extension of time from during the procurement process. Thank you.
Senator Karungo.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. My question to Mr. Abdi. You receive a letter from the Health Ministry on 11th May 2023. Then in your wisdom, you replied 16 months later, when the CS has even left the office. My question, and that is 5 months after the Senate looks into the issue and comes with a report. Are you part of the conspiracy? Don't answer me, answer your children.
Senator Sigei.
Honorable Speaker, the question I intended to ask has already been asked by my colleague, Senator Mogatana, so I do not need to waste the time.
Senator Kibwana. And honorable senators, you know, when you're given an opportunity to seek clarification or ask a question, it is not a moment to get a TikTok clip. Please, this is a very serious matter. Proceed. Let us not embarrass this House. Proceed, Senator Hamida.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, to Mr. Abdi, I just wanted a clarification whether EACC, when EACC conducts their investigation, are they guided by other investigations? Because through the cross-examination, I think it was vis-a-vis the parliament investigation. So I think these are two different investigations. So I wanted that clarification, whether you are guided by Parliament, because the Parliament are not experts. That's why we always bring in or loop in EACC to assist us with the investigation. Number two, would you call it a bribe if a gift is not declared, you know, or gifts in a public office? Would you call it a bribe? Just the last one to the council. How do you cross-examine what someone came and said, but not exactly specific findings of the Senate? Because I found it a bit contradicting. Because the resolutions of the Senate is based on committees' observation and recommendations, but not investigations. Thank you.
Senator Kathuri.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, mine is not to the council or to the witness, but to the remarks which has been given out here by Senator Karungo Dhangwa. Mr. Speaker, I don't know whether you heard what he said, and I do not associate myself as a senator, honorable senator, with those remarks to a witness appearing before the Senate, that please don't answer me, answer your children. Mr. Speaker, that should be expunged from the records of the Senate and from the answer, honorable Speaker.
Order, honorable senators. Senator Karungo, that is unparliamentary and totally out of order. Proceed to retract that statement, failure to which the chair will rule.
Mr. Speaker, as I withdraw, this session is viewed by everybody. At home, our children too. Mr. Speaker.
Senator Karungo, I never give you an opportunity to make a speech. Retract or you allow me to make a ruling.
Okay, Mr. Speaker, I retract.
Take your seat.
I withdraw, and
Take
please
your
answer me.
seat. Take your seat, Senator Karungo, please. Senator Keroche Tabitha.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for giving me this opportunity. And as a mother, I think I've also felt I'm hurt with Senator Karungo. But because it has been ruled, thank you. We should never, ever. I know we had a meeting, closed door meeting before we started this. And we all agreed we are going to behave. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Proceed to seek
So,
clarification.
mine is to the Abdi. My question is to the Abdi on whatever you're trying to do on the procurement irregularities. But my question is, are you doing to the others? Because there are a lot of complaints on the procurement departments in all the ministries. So I hope this continues to everywhere. Thank you.
Senator Richard Onyonka.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I wanted to ask Mr. Abdi this question. In your observation, maybe in just a paragraph, what do you interpret happened about this tender from its inception, in terms of the procurement, in terms of the management of the exercise and the conclusion, as an officer whose responsibility is actually to investigate if there was any breakage of the law, and if necessary, make recommendations to the DPP. What conclusion did you reach when you were analyzing this matter? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Karen Nyamu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Dr. Mulwa, before this House, implicated the Deputy President in a scandal of the 3.7 billion KEMSAR deal. In your own investigation, can you corroborate what Dr. Mulwa has claimed before this House? Thank you.
Senator Tomo Jenda.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, my question is different. I want to ask the previous, the advocate who spoke or presented the Kenya Kwanza agreement, my learned friend, to clarify a few issues. Mr. Yes, Council, can you clarify from the agreement, the Kenya Kwanza agreement, whether there are any shares for the following counties? Please note this. This is important. Kisumu County, Siaya County, Migori County, Homa Bay County, Kitui County, Mombasa County, Vihiga County, Mandera County, Marsabit County, Trans Nzoia, West Pokot, Lamu, and Nairobi County. I just want to know whether, and this is important because the legal crinkum crankum, the twists and turns in this is that you will then interpret, Council, whether the agreement violates Article 210(2)(b) of the Constitution, inclusivity, diversity, discrimination, and the obligation of the President under Article 131. Lastly, Council, please just tell us whether, in your view, the relationship between the Deputy President and the President, because you played the two clips under Kenya Kwanza, has broken down irretrievably. That will help us. Thank you.
Senator Essie Okanyure.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would wish to seek more information from Mr. Abdi on was it in order for the bid bond document to be released while there was an ongoing investigation? And secondly, did EACC clear Madam Terry Ramadan as the ambassador? Thank you.
Senator Enoch Wambua.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, a few things to clarify from EACC. One, did you find it necessary to record a statement from Crystal and Shobika in that probe? Because they had been mentioned. Were they entities of interest in the investigation? Secondly, has Shobika ever done any business with KEMSA or with Global Fund before the case on record? In your own investigations, did you find that? In your letter, I see you have recommended administrative action against the CEO, the acting director of procurement, and 2 procurement officers. I see no recommendation of any action, not necessarily by KEMSA, against Crystal or against Shobika. And I think that's in line with your own recommendation that in this case on record, there was no public funds lost, and eventually the bid was returned. So in your own investigation, what is at issue here? I thank you.
Senator Mofaya.
I don't know whether this, Honorable Speaker, I want to know from the witness from the EACC. I've listened to his evidence, and I would want to know, on behalf of the whole House, whether the contract for mosquito nets, which was drawn out of interference, because I have captured those confessions from him. So my question is, Honorable Speaker, can he connect the company associated with the DP with the withdrawal of that contract? Number 2, Honorable Speaker, I have also listened to Mr. Murwa, Dr. Murwa. One would want to know, is it normal for ordinary CEO to come and camp in your office for 5 hours?
Senator Muma.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. My question to the witness is that we've been told by Dr. Mulwa that the people of Kenya lost money, they lost time, they lost the number of nets they were going to get, and services to people. Now, does EACC end at just saying you recommend administrative action? Now, who takes responsibility for the loss of all of that the people of Kenya did? And what responsibility is taken in respect of tinkering with the procurement in order to give it to the wrong person for it to be found not to have been correct? Honorable Speaker, one more question. to Council, now that Professor Ojenda has asked, I want to take opportunity to ask Council Macharia, you referred to the Political Parties Act, Schedule 3, as the instrument with which you allege that the shareholding, in your view, that was being spoken about is contained in the coalition government of Kenya Kwanza. Can you give us the exact provisions of Schedule 3 of the Political Parties Act that says that shareholding can be done on development projects in Kenya?
Senator Mugo. Senator Mugo.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I have a question for the Excellency Deputy President's Counsel as to whether the Deputy President, in his own conscience, realized that this shareholding narrative is really going negative, and what did he do about it? Or he just went all the way up to where things are now without he himself realizing that it is going the wrong way?
Senator Jonyut.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Very briefly, just want to ask the witness, Mr. Abdi. He has stated that as per their investigation, ESCC, that the closing date was moved for this tender, particular tender, was moved from the 23rd of February 2023 to 10th of March in order for the process to favor Shobika, or whose local agent was Christo. Can you clarify, Mr. Abdi, whether this extension of the tender period was due to the late delivery of bid bond, because you said that the tender was also attached to a bid bond that was late? Was the reason the late delivery of the bid bond, or the specifications of the long-lasting net from synergist peronale, something like that, but side to pyrethrin? Exactly what was the reason? Was it late delivery of bid bond or the specification? Number two, Mr. Abdi, you have indicated that EACC was supposed to do, or it should have preferred, charges against these errant, in quotes, officers. And finally, why were the companies that were eventually given the tender or awarded the tender by Global Fund, why had they initially been disqualified by KEMSA? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Lelegwe.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I would like to seek clarifications from the Advocate of the National Assembly in reference to Ground 11, which pertains to gross misconduct bullying. You have alleged that that His Excellency, the Deputy President, exerted undue pressure on officials of Kenya Medical Supplies Agency in order to secure a tender for supply of mosquito nets to Crystal Limited, a company purportedly associated with him. Now, upon reviewing the documentation provided, I have noted that 17 companies submitted bids for this tender, yet it was ultimately not awarded to any of them. Given these findings, may I inquire from you whether it will be correct to assert that this particular ground lacks sufficient substantiation, considering that no award was made in respect to the tender in question? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Chimera.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Three quick issues to the witness. I wish to refer the witness to page 17 of his own document. and I know he is a very serious investigator, Speaker, but the document on page 17, dated 16th July 2014, as tabled here, is so naked and so casual, and it's purportedly coming from the Pest Control and Products Board. There is no letterhead as to confirm his allegation on the conflict of interest on the part of the DP insofar as this tender is concerned. Is it your contention that the mere fact Crystal Kenya Limited is the local agent of one of the bidders in this tender, then that will suffice to be conflict of interest enough on the part of the DP, because the owner of that company assigns to the DP? And lastly, Mr. Speaker, the witness has been cross-examined by my learned colleague, counsel for the DP, largely on contents of the Senate Standing Committee on Health report, as opposed to his own documents. Do you want it to go on record that you want to rely on that report as your evidence in chief, or should the Senate rely on your documents as tabled under volume 8A of your own documents? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Shakil Abdallah.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My question is to Mr. Abdi. How many more charges against the deputy are before the EACC apart from the KEMSA? Thank you.
Senator Aaron Cheriot.
Mr. Speaker, just a quick question to Abdi of EACC. This issue of the bid bond, Mr. Speaker, listening to the former acting CEO, there's something curious about it which I want Abdi to either confirm or help us understand. That there was something peculiar. You know, Mr. Speaker, when you hear about pagination, if you know anything about tenders, you know for a fact that if there's an issue on pagination, either it is not just an issue of forgetting to page or number the pages, Mr. Speaker, but that document may either have been added later on after the tendering process was concluded, or, Mr. Speaker, it was defective. What was the real issue, according to their investigation, with regards to the bid bond that was submitted by this specific company? Secondly, Mr. Speaker, what in his assessment will he say is a reading of the donor community when you have such important programs interfered with, as such that the donor communities themselves end up cancelling such important programs? And what are they recommending? Finally, Mr. Speaker, is to Advocate Ndegwa Njiru. He asked the witness earlier which of the report would he, that this House believes, that of the Senate or of the EACC. I'd wish to pose the same question to him. I thank you.
Senator
Kwa Bwana Abdi, kwa sababu anayehukumiwa hapa ni naibu wa rais, tungetaka kujua kwamba kwa sababu mlifanya uchunguzi, ni kesi ngapi ama kuna kesi yote ambayo EACC imepeleka mahakamani ili naibu wa rais aweze kuhukumiwa? Jambo la pili, wakati kulikuwa naibu wa rais alikuwa anachunguzwa katika bunge la kitaifa, kuna ushahidi wote ambao wewe uliwasilisha katika bunge la kitaifa? Na kama hukuwasilisha, kwa nini umeamua kuwasilisha tu nyumba la seneti na sio bunge la kitaifa? Na ya mwisho, katika zabuni ambayo ilikuwa ni ya viandarua vya mbu ambayo naibu wa rais anasemekana alihusika nayo, tungetaka tujue ya kwamba kwa sababu ile zabuni ilikuwa imeghairiwa na KEMSA, na kwa hivyo dhamana ya zabuni ambayo ni bid bond kwa kimombo ilikuwa inafaa kurudishwa, tungetaka tujue kama hiyo dhamana ya zabuni ilirudishwa ama iliitishwa, ingekuwa inasaidia naibu wa rais na nini, ama kungekuwa na manufaa gani ya kurudisha dhamana ya zabuni kama ulivyorudisha? Hiyo ningetaka kujua. Asante sana Mr. Speaker.
Senator Mogene.
Yes, Bwana Abdi, on this issue of procurement of malaria nets, with KEMSA. You know, you have given us documents that basically point to some recommendation for administrative action to be taken against a number of officers. But you know, what is of our concern today is companies associated with the DP. Can you tell us that you found irregular matter that concerns us this, is it afternoon, this afternoon? That is the companies associated with the PTCO. Thank you.
Senator Boni.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, that the EACC is here with us. And there are serious allegations that have been raised that require investigations. Could the CEO, the deputy, confirm if indeed there are investigations taking place on your own motion on the following issues? Activities of this intricate web of companies by the Deputy President, on the issue of the disinheritance of the orphans and wife of his late brother, His Excellency Nderitu Gachagua. 3, on the alleged, if there are investigations on the role that His Excellency the Deputy President played in the infamous Gen Z uprising that occurred in June. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator